Hi guys, Darth Deuce is here with another Marvel Legends figure review, and I've got a really cool set to review today. It is the Marvel Studios The First 10 Years Infinity War set, basically. So it's the Thanos, Doctor Strange, and Iron Man set. I've been very excited for this set. I'm sure some of the people who completed the first wave of the first Infinity War wave might not be too thrilled with this, but we are getting a re-release and slight retool of the movie Thanos Bath. We're getting a new-ish Doctor Strange. I think it's the same body, but he has a new face-printed head, which is great. And we're also getting a slightly different Iron Man Mark 50. So yeah, this is a set I've been looking forward to for a long time. I'm happy it's out. You're getting some really cool figures, some really cool characters in this set. And I don't have any of these figures. I didn't get the Bath. I never even got the first Doctor Strange they did, and I never got the single issue release of the Mark 50. So here's the packaging. It's in that Marvel Studios First 10 Years packaging, the Legend series, and all that. You do actually have a spot where you can test out the light gimmick for the Iron Man figure. Got the Avengers logo. You got all the characters' names there. Hasbro, Avengers Infinity War, spot varnished Marvel Studios on there. Some pretty cool artwork there. I'm pretty sure it's concept artwork, so that's pretty cool. There's a read-up of the movie. If you want to pause and read that, go ahead. And flipping around the back, you have a poster for the movie. You have read-ups for every character, so Doctor Strange, Thanos, and the Iron Man Mark 50. And you got all the different languages here for all the attentions and all that jazz. So this is number 10 out of all these first 10 years figures. So that is pretty much it for the packaging. I'm going to crack this set open and we'll take a look at each individual figure. This will be a longer review because I have 3 figures to look at. Alright guys, now I have this set out of the packaging. And I gotta say, this is an awesome figure set. This is definitely the best. I guess I shouldn't say definitely, but I think in my opinion, this is the best of the first 10 years sets. I think this is one of the best figure sets I've bought in a long time. It's just really, really good. I don't hate any of the figures. I like all the figures, but most of them are pretty close to excellent or are excellent. So we're going to run through each one by one. We're going to start with Iron Man. He is probably the least interesting figure of this set and the least looked forward to among the collectors for this set. Alright, so here I have the Iron Man for the set. This is the Mark 50, that nanotech armor. I did like that armor in the movie. I don't think it's my favorite armor, but I did like the look of it a lot. And I think this figure is a pretty good representation of it. I want to say it's not 100% accurate. Mostly maybe in the mask face, so I could be wrong on that. But I do like all the nice little paint apps for this figure. And I am happy I didn't pick up the original one. So when I pick up this one, it's a lot more like a brand new figure to me. But there's not a whole lot different, as far as I know, from this figure to the standard release. But I do really like the paint on this one. It's got a pretty nice, vibrant red for the, red parts, obviously. And the gold paint on it is really nicely done. I love the shine on the mask there. It looks really, really good. You got the black line for the mouth. You got some silver, or gunmetal, paint apps. You have the blue paint in there. It's like more of a white in the middle, and then blue around the outlines to kind of emulate the glowing. It works to a certain extent. Not perfect, but I think it looks good nonetheless. On the back here, you do have some janky stuff. You got the screw there where the batteries go, and you got the switch for the light up feature, which I think is really cool. This set, or this figure, incorporates a light up feature. It's something I'd like to see more of from Hasbro. Or try to see them implement. I think it'd be cool. But the only thing different, I think, on this figure from the previous one is the torso. Everything else is the same. But you got all these nice arc reactor sort of blue highlights on the figure, which is really cool. And you got the gold highlights as well. Some slight marbleization of the plastic, but it's not too bad. Got like gunmetal color on the lines, which looks really good. The blue accents again look great. Arms look good. Definitely also a very smooth look because of the nanotech. One thing I'm actually noticing right now is it looks like the color of red on the hips is actually a slightly darker red than on the legs, and it's noticeable. It's relatively noticeable. It's not so much on camera, but it is there. That's kind of annoying. The gold playing the blue and everything looks great. Again, you got the streamlined look, and there's no real paint on the thighs at all. I do actually have sculpted repulsors on the feet, so that's kind of cool. So it's a good looking figure. I think it's a decent representation, but like I said, I think it's the weakest figure in this set, and I definitely don't think it's the best Iron Man figure out there, but it's pretty cool nonetheless. In terms of articulation, he's pretty well articulated. You got a ball joint at the head of the hinge, so you can look all the way up, which is great, and he looks pretty far down. My ball joint at the head is just slightly loose going side to side, but it's not so loose where it's super annoying. Ball into the shoulders, my one issue is I don't know if I'm not pushing down far enough, but I'd have to put a lot of force to get them down, but they do not go straight down to his sides, which is a bit annoying. But they do rotate. This rotation is just ever so slightly a little too loose, but it's not too bad. There's the light up feature, but I'll talk more about that in a second. If you get it over the lip here of the joint, you can get that going all the way out, so that is pretty good, though it makes me afraid to bust the peg of the arms in. That's a little too tight. Swivel at the thigh, double hinges the elbows. My elbow joint on this side is actually a bit warped inwards, so that's a little annoying. I hate it when they come warped, but it does bend pretty good. The repulsor hands, which he comes packed in with, are only swivels. There's no hinges. I thought I wouldn't mind that, but I actually do wish they still had the hinge joint. I kind of don't like that they started to do that, but the sculpting of the hands does look pretty good. No torso articulation because of the electronics. It's not a huge issue for me. If you want an articulated body, get the normal release. Ball joint hips, it moves out decently. Kicks forward all the way. Kicks back just a little bit. Swivel at the thighs, which are pretty good. Double hinges at the knees. And hinges at the ankles, move forward a lot, back a lot, and they have pivot. So pretty good articulation on this figure. I can't complain too much. There are some problems, but it's not a huge deal. Some of the paint apps, that thigh spot is really bugging me the more and more I look at it, so that is a problem. I don't know if the previous version had that problem or not. In terms of accessories and I guess features, first off, it does come with a set of repulsor blasts. This is always welcome for Iron Man figures, and it's sculpted in a light translucent blue. It gets fainter when it gets to the end. I think these both look really good, and I'll get them plugged, or I'll plug one of them in his hand. I won't bother with the other one. This one that's actually really tight. I don't know why that is. That's kind of annoying, but get that in there. It looks really good. You can also pour them in the back of his, or not back, the bottom of his feet if you want. That goes in a lot easier. So you can kind of look like he's flying. He also comes with a set of closed fist hands. I wish they painted the repulsors inside, but aside from that, they look pretty good. Gotta port these out, put them in real quick. It's pretty easy to do, standard Marvel Legends kind of thing. These are all the same accessories that came with the standard release. And that looks pretty good as well. Now the light up feature, as you already saw it go. There's a button on the front, which is hidden pretty well, surprisingly, to light it up. There's also a switch on the back. It's actually not an on and off switch. If you have it switched to the left hand side, when you press it, it'll turn on, and it'll only stay on for 5 seconds. And it has a very nice fade away. As you can see, they actually add some white paint on there, and I think it works really well. And the LED is quite strong. I do like that a lot as well. If you move it over to the side, it'll stay on for 15 seconds, and if you hold it in, it'll stay on for 15 minutes until you press the button or the time runs out. So that's pretty cool if you wanted to stay on for longer. That's pretty useful. I do like you get those options there. So if you're taking pictures or whatever, you don't have to do it within a really short time frame. You can give yourself some time. So that's really cool. Overall, this Iron Man figure, it's a good Iron Man figure. I think it's one of the better MCU Iron Man figures, but it's not the best. There are a few others that I think are better. I think I even like the Civil War one better than this one. But the light-up feature is really cool. I think I'd like to see Hasbro try the light-up feature again on other figures. The accessories are decent. I would have liked to see some of his weapons or his morph parts with the nanotech. You can morph parts so you make like blades or big guns or the pile drivers or whatever they had. It would have been nice to get a couple or even one of those accessories to make attached to his arm or to make as an interchangeable hand or something. To make this figure a little more different and more worth wanting than the initial release, because I hate to say it, but the LED light for the arc reactor isn't enough of a buying point to make me want this one over the previous one. But people are still going to get this anyways because they want the other figures. But I don't have that, so I am happy to have this figure in the collection. So that is nice. That is the Mark 50 Iron Man. Good, but not great. Let's move on to Doctor Strange. Alright, now we have the Doctor Strange figure, and this figure is really good. He does have issues that I will talk about, but he's a repaint / a bit of a retool of the first movie Doctor Strange figure. That figure wasn't bad. I never did get it, so I can't do a comparison, but I did look it up just to make sure what I was saying is correct. And this guy does use some new parts, which is really cool, but the base body is the same, just repainted. But what's different on this guy is obviously his right forearm and hand. The Cloak of Levitation is actually a new sculpt, I'm pretty sure, and head sculpt's different as well. And let's take a look at that head sculpt, because it uses the face print technology of Benedict Cumberbatch, and it looks really good. I'm really happy with that. He's got just a slight smirk going on, I'd say. The eyes look really good. The hair is sculpted nicely and painted really well. He's got the gray slashes on the sides there. He's got the goatee or bit of beard going on, which looks really good as well. It's a really good Cumberbatch head sculpt. It looks very much like him. They even sort of painted and printed the sort of lines in his face and forehead and whatnot. The camera doesn't do it enough justice. It does look really, really good. A big improvement over that initial figure. This Cloak of Levitation also looks better than the original one. Not that one looked too bad, but I like this one better. It just attaches the figure via a peg in the back, and it looks pretty good. You got the gold flashes on the edges here. You got the collar, which looks pretty cool. Got all this nice sculpted detail. The shoulder there, it's like a shoulder pad. All the sculpted detail looks really good. A bit of paint error, but not too bad. And you've got all this nice sculpted detail and a bit of a black wash on the inside, which looks really good as well. Like I said, that is removable. And I just flew the Eye of Agamotto. I gotta find that. Okay, sorry about that, but as you saw, the cloak can be removed, like I said, just via a peg in the back there. That's how it stays in, and it looks pretty good, and it's decently pliable. So it doesn't really hinder articulation. As you saw, you can also remove the Eye of Agamotto. Just fits off of his head. Looks pretty good. You got the black string, you got like the brown wrapping, and then you got the gold paint, and you also got some green paint in there to make it look like it's kind of activated. So that looks really cool. I like that a lot. And I like that's removable, though I'd be careful and not try to avoid what I did. I'm going to put the cape back on. There's not really that much sculpted detail on the back that really needs to be talked about. If I can get it in there. There we go. Alright. Fits in there actually really nice and tightly, so that is good. Though you do have kind of that gappage, I suppose, where it's not really sitting completely flush onto his torso, but I don't really care too much. The rest of the figure is, well, aside from his forearm there, is pretty much the same, but you got this nice blue and then dark blue going on, even a lighter blue, and these straps look really nice. Right hand here has the outstretched hand, looks pretty good, gesturing hand, I suppose. The belts here look pretty good. You got the lower robe, which also looks pretty good. Decently pliable, but not like insanely pliable. I suppose it does hinder some articulation. You do have the pants, which are pretty standard pants. Actually got his leg all frigged up. There we go. And you do got the boots, which are pretty simple looking, but the sculpting is there and looks pretty good. Now, The one thing we're going to want to take a look at is, of course, his new sculpted forearm. It is him using the Time Stone in the Eye of Agamotto to use his time abilities. Looks really good. You got this green translucent effect that replicates how it looks when he's bending time, I suppose. You can see his hand in there. You got all this nice sculpted detail. It looks great. You got, again, the things that go around his arm look really, really good. The only issue with this is it's not removable. Even if you took this hand out and put in a normal hand, you still have these circle pieces which aren't removable. And it's a bit unfortunate. I would have liked them to be removable because just have a more standard looking Doctor Strange. At the same time, it doesn't bother me a huge amount because I was probably going to display him using the time abilities anyways. And I can see the problems with having it removable. Not so much with the hand, but these ring pieces. Having those, being able to attach and not having them falling out and sliding all over the place all the time would have been a challenge. So I guess that having them just part of the mold works better. And it looks really, really good. But yeah, you can't remove it, so you are going to be stuck with your Doctor Strange doing this ability. Not the end of the world, though. In terms of articulation, he's pretty well articulated. He's got a ball joint at the head with a hinge at the neck, so you can look up a decent amount, look down very much. Rotation and a nice amount of pivot. Ball hinge at the shoulders, I'd say not really hinged on the shoulder. It'll move out of the way and look maybe a little weird, but it's not hindered. I wouldn't say. There's quite a bit of space there to use. Soles at the thigh, or not thighs, biceps. Double hinges at the elbows. This one moves pretty good, but it's going to be a little hindered because of the effect. This one should move a bit more so. Ball hinges at the wrist, they both go in and out and they rotate. Ball joint at the torso, so you can move it out quite a bit, and you actually got some sculpted detail under there, so that's pretty cool. And also moves forward, of course, crunches back forward pretty well, and pivots and rotates, all that good stuff. Hips move out a decent amount, but these plastic thighs or robes are going to hinder that a decent amount. Same with the kicking forward. They sort of move out of the way, but they want to push them back in. This is not too bad, but it does hinder them a bit. Same with the double hinges at the knees, sole cut in the boot, hinges at the ankles, and then rocker joints. So he has good articulation. It's the same articulation pretty much as the previous version. So it's workable. He's not super articulated by any means. But unlike the Ironman, this figure does offer a lot of new stuff to make him desirable. Even if you have the original release, he's got a way better head sculpt. I think a much better looking Cloak of Levitation. And you get the effect piece as well on his arm. And I'm assuming, like I said, I don't have that figure, but they're using the same body. If you wanted to have a standard Doctor Strange, I'm pretty sure that figure's not super expensive. And you can get that, or if you already have it, just swap the heads. Be pretty simple. You can even swap the capes if you wanted to. This figure also does have a couple other accessories aside from what he has on him. It does have an interchangeable left hand, which is a gripping hand. Has a trigger finger for some reason, but you do have that, which is used for his other accessory. You get the, I guess, magic shield or whatever that the original figure came with. Some nice sculpted detail, molded in this nice translucent dark yellowish plastic. Got the handle there that the hand would just hold. So you can have him doing that as well if you want to. So that is pretty cool. And yeah, that's Doctor Strange. I think it's a really good figure. Some issues with it. Some people might not be as turned on with it because of the removable stuff, but I still think it's a really solid figure. And now the meat of this set is the Thanos figure that you get. And this is a really, really cool figure. Like I said, don't have the BAF, but this is a way to get a better version of the BAF without having to buy a whole wave, though this set is still pretty expensive. Not as much in the States, but in Canada here, it sets it back a decent amount, unfortunately. But, that being said, this figure is really good. There is also SH Figure Arts Infinity War Thanos. There's things about that I do like over this figure, but I think I actually prefer this one because it has a more accurate looking gauntlet. It's bigger, and I think it just has a bit better paint colors. Maybe not paint apps, but paint colors. So, is what it is. People have their preferences. Let's talk about it. It's a big figure. Obviously, it was a Bath, and Thanos is a pretty big guy. He does have a new paint job, mainly with the skin tone. Skin tone is more accurate looking. It's got a much more nicer matte purple instead of that weird glossy, dark, shiny purple. So this looks, I think, a lot better. You get 2 new head sculpts with this figure. This is the one that is not on the body, packed in with the figures, but is in more just neutral head sculpt. It's just sort of stern, normal. Doesn't have that weird smirk. Or maybe not weird, but a lot of people weren't too keen on that one. The eyes look really good. I like how those look a lot. You got the darker purple underneath, and you got the nice color of the eyes there. The sculpting of the face itself looks really good. I like all the sculpting work for all the different parts of his face structure, which looks really good as well. The little bits of armor that's still on him, like the shoulder, chest part, looks really good. You actually get this nice printed design on there. It looks really good. And you got the sort of really dark gunmetal color going on as well. You've got the sculpted part of the tunic, which looks really good. You got all this nice sculpted detail. Arms look good. You got the lines there. Again, not that weird glossy purple. Mine does have this little kind of like almost scuffiness. It's got like scuffed or like a knife or something on his forearm there. It's got this little weird circled spot too, but it's not a huge deal. Still looks pretty good. He does have a bald fist on this hand that hasn't changed from the Bath. And you got this arm here, again, same thing. You got the gauntlet, which looks really good. I love the paint apps on here. It looks fantastic. Nice shine and everything to it. Looks really good. The difference from this gauntlet to the Bath's gauntlet is this one actually comes with an open fist, which is pretty cool. I do wish this one came with the closed fist as well, but I suppose they needed to make that Bath have something different to it, I guess. But I'm assuming that if you got the King Cobra came with this arm with the previous Bath, I'm assuming if you got that arm with a closed fist, you could swap the hands if you want to. Might get that figure at some point to be able to do that. But this still looks really good. You got all the Infinity Stones there, which are all painted really nicely. Again, the paint on the actual gauntlet looks really good. And the open hand looks great as well. I like how that looks a lot. Pretty dramatic looking. Not a huge fan how you can see the purple of the arm under there, but it's not a huge deal. You do have this loose part, which is his belt and lower tunic part, I guess. Sculpt detail's nice, and the paint's pretty clean. Nothing to really talk about. It's maybe slightly annoying to manipulate when you're trying to pose him, but not too bad. He's got his brown trousers here. Look pretty good. Sculpted wrinkles and lines help to make it look like pants. And you got his boots with the knee guards there, look good. You got the gold, looks really nice. You got the big boots, which also look really good. And you do have the sculpted outline of the treads, which is also nice, and peg holes bottom of the feet. And it's overall a really, really good looking figure. I really like this one a lot. Actually might make it into my top 10 Marvel Legends in my collection. Definitely probably a contender for top 10 of the year. You know, his articulation's pretty good for a Bath. He's got a neck ball joint head with a hinge, so you can look up a decent amount, look down a decent amount, and just slight pivot, and he's got rotation. Ball hinges at the shoulders, which move pretty good. They go all the way out. They can go all the way to his torso, to his sides, and you rotate them. Got that nice sort of slight ratchet, I guess. Slow at the thigh. Single hinge at the elbow. The one without the gauntlet can move about 90. The one with the gauntlet is going to move slightly less than 90, but it's still not terrible. Would have been nice to have double hinge elbows, though, on this figure. Swivel, and then hinge at the wrists. This one's kind of tight. This one's not too bad. It moves pretty good, so. Doesn't actually add, it will. The gauntlet will allow you to move it out a bit, so that's cool. Ab crunch, which is really tight. That didn't sound too good either, but you can crunch it back. I don't really like the gappage there, but it's not too bad. I guess if there's one gripe with that is that the ab crunch is a bit obvious on this figure. Sole at the waist moves good. Ball into the hips, which are probably some of the best joints on here. They move out a lot. I like that a lot. It's way better than the comic Thanos. Sole at the thighs. And then double hinges at the knees, which move really good. And hinges at the ankles with rocker joints. So he actually has some pretty good articulation. I think he's one of the better articulated BAFs, Hasbro BAFs, that's for sure. So that's really good. And then, of course, for accessories, he doesn't come with much. He just comes with one other alternate head sculpt, which is the Angry head sculpt, which is my favorite out of the two. It looks really good. They really were able to get the rage across on this face sculpt. I like the teeth are painted well, the eyes, the extra wrinkles and whatnot for him grimacing like this. It just looks really, really good. And putting that on there, the heads are easy enough to swap. And that looks really cool. Obviously, he's not in a cool pose. It looks a lot better when he's in a cool pose, but that looks really, really good as well. Both head sculpts look really good, but I definitely prefer this one. I'll do some size comparisons for this guy with other BAFs mainly. Well, here's this year's Walmart exclusive comic Thanos, which is a re-release, improved re-release of that comic Thanos BAF from a couple of years ago or a few years ago. Which I do really like this figure as well, but this Thanos is much bigger. This one's also better articulated, so I like all that a lot better than this one. This one's still really cool, but it just goes to show you how small this one was for a BAF, really. There he is for that. And here he is with a more recent BAF. Here he is with the comic X-Men Wave Apocalypse. They are about the same height and about the same mass. I think that looks really cool as well. So I think this Thanos is in good scale, but we will lastly, just quickly, here he is with the other figures in this set. Doctor Strange and Iron Man. And I think this is scaled really well. I think Thanos is a pretty good size compared to these two. So I like that a lot as well. I think Thanos is supposed to be about the size of the Hulk, so I think this works pretty well. And now that I have them here, I'll just put them off the side like that. This pack is really good. It is expensive, which is I think the biggest problem with this set. I almost didn't buy it because it was so expensive. In Canada here, it is $150 Canadian before tax. So after tax, you're looking at about $170. I paid $150, just around $150, because I got this at EB Games and I have a Platinum Edge membership, so I get 10% off. But still, it's pretty expensive. I can't remember how much it is in the States. It's 80 or 90. It's much more reasonably priced there. So in the States, I can highly recommend this set. It's 100% worth the money. Getting a really good Thanos, a nice enough Iron Man, and a pretty good Doctor Strange. 100% recommend. In Canada, it's hard to recommend this set at such a high price point. It's still a really good set. I want to say, unless you really want... I really wanted the Thanos, and I was pretty keen on the Doctor Strange as well. So if you're keen on those ones, then I'd recommend getting it. If not, if you can wait, then I would wait to see if you can get it on sale. I don't know how easily this set's going to be to get. My EB Games had to before I picked one of them up. So, hard to say. But anyways, that's my review. Really like this set overall. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And thank you guys for watching. I will see you all in the next video.